طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So welcome to the computer networks course of fall 2021. I wish you all a successful and fruitful academic year, and I hope you are all staying safe and sound. Inshallah, I'm gonna go through the syllabus today, and I will highlight the course description and the topics that we are going to discuss and how the course is going to be structured and the method of teaching. All these details are extremely important, and as you can see, I'm actually recording this lecture for you as a reference for later on. I'm going to be also talking about lecture capture for all the future classes. So first of all, my name is Amr Muhammad, and I've been in the department since 2007. Before that, I did my master's and PhD in Canada, in the University of British Columbia. My area of specialty is in wireless networking and communication. So I'm going to be teaching and coordinating this course between all the instructors, and the TA is going to be Engineer Heba Dawood, and she will post the available office hour. The office hours for this class or for the male students is going to be on Tuesday right after the class at 12 noon. Of course, there is a link. It's going to be online, and there is a link for this. When you get to Blackboard and download the course syllabus, you will find again the Teams link to get to the office hour. Of course, if this time is not suitable for some of you, feel free to send me an email and book an appointment for one-to-one office hour whenever you like. Okay. So to begin, the course is actually structured. So first, we're going to be talking about the textbook. So the textbook, as you might know, this course is actually completely integrated with the Cisco CCNA 1 course, which is Introduction to Networks. And we're going to be covering version 5 or 5.1. And the actual book, hard copy book, is actually in the library. However, you don't need to buy the book in any way. So I'm going to be, if you go again to Blackboard, and I'm going to switch to Blackboard just quickly, very quickly. Okay, so of course, there is some external references here, like Frozen, and these are optional. These are for students who would like to get more information, but it's not mandatory for all the students to go through them. So this course has these course learning outcomes. So the course learning outcomes are divided into two parts. There is the part related to the lecture. So this is the part related to the lecture part of the course. And these course learning outcomes are divided into two parts. The first part will talk about some basic concepts related to networking. So I'm going to be talking about what network function means, how are we going to structure and divide the network function into layers, what protocol means, and so on. So these are basic concepts that are very, very important. These are the foundations for us to embark on defining and going through the details of all the protocols in every layer on the internet. Then the second part, which covers the details of the protocols in every layer. So we're going to be talking about 5 layers of the internet, in case some of you might know. The network function is divided over the internet into 5 layers, starting from physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, and then application layer. So we're gonna be talking about the important and the common protocols or the standard protocols in every layer on the internet. We'll talk about the details of this protocol I'm going to be delving into some theoretical concepts which are not necessarily covered in the material. So again, whatever we discuss in class, you're going to be requested to know it. So it's important to know the details of everything that's said in class. And anything that we do not discuss, even if it's in the online material, you don't have to know everything about it. So you are requested to know everything that we say in class. That's why the class is extremely important, and there is nothing that will replace the fact that you attend the class in person. And I'm going to be talking about and stressing on that very strongly in the next few minutes. The second part, or these two course learning outcomes, they are covered in the lab. Okay, so in the lab, you're going to be learning some mathematical and software tools, including something called Packet Tracer from Cisco. You're going to be learning Wireshark and some of these tools that are used for troubleshooting a network or building and designing a network using some virtual tools. And the second course learning outcome is to work in groups towards designing a comprehensive network, including the protocols of this network from the data link layer all the way to the application layer, and demonstrate the design of this network in a course project that will include a report and a presentation and so on. And that's going to be the project part, which is covered in the lab. We don't have a project in the lecture part. So that's these are the course learning outcomes. So this is a bit stuff. So I'm gonna skip through it. You don't have to get to the details of that. But if we talk about the topics, you will see that the topics that we are going to be covering are matching or aligning with the CCNA chapters. So there's chapter 1 from the CCNA material. Chapter 2 is going to be covered in the lab. Okay, so this is chapter 2. So we don't have to cover chapter 2 in the lecture. So in case some of you might wonder that why we skipped from chapter 1 to chapter 3, because chapter 2 talks about cabling and stuff that will be covered purely in the lab. So we're not going to be covering. In fact, actually, there is chapter 11 here as well. And also chapter 11 is going to be covered in the lab. We're not going to be talking about chapter 2 and chapter 11 as part of the lecture. So the topics of the course are going to be covering 9 chapters. The first one, as I said, is just introduction. What is the definition of a network? What is the basic concepts and basic definitions related to the network? How the network function is divided? How the network affects our way of life? And so on. And then we're going to be talking about the definition of a protocol, which is the basic ingredient of any network layer function. And then we will go through the layers one by one. So first, the network access layer, network layer, transport layer, and then at the end, the application layer. So 5 different layers. We're going to be talking about the details of the protocols in each layer and so on. If you have any question, feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself and interrupt me whenever you want, okay? All right, so these are the topics that you're going to be covering in the lab. I'm not going to go through them. You can you will talk about them in the lab. So to go through the assessment criteria, first I would like to highlight the method of teaching of this course. And as some of you might know from previous offerings of the course, this course is taught using the flipped classroom. Okay, so how many of you know anything about flipped classroom or tried the flipped classroom in any way in previous courses? How many of you, just by raise of hand? Anyone is familiar with the flipped classroom and how it works? Okay, okay. Yes, I will explain it for sure, but I just wanted to know whether you have tried it before in other courses. Okay, the reason I'm saying this is that for some students, whenever they go through it for the first time, they feel a little bit, a little bit stressed or overwhelmed or something like this. But I can assure you that towards the middle of the course, you will really appreciate the benefit of this method. And I get many students asking me by the end of the course that we need to go through network 2 next semester using the same method and so on. So what is this method about? So basically, uh, so the way that this method works is that it's flipped, which means that you should come to the class prepared in a way. So I'm not gonna ask you to go through the online material before the class on your own, because this is a little bit boring. And instead, what I'm gonna ask you to do is to just watch some offline recordings. Okay, so just watch some offline recordings. So let me switch back to Blackboard again. So so the first step for this flipped classroom is watch the offline videos. Okay, so you're supposed to do this before the class. Two, the lecture itself is going to be divided into two parts. The first part, we call it briefing. So in the briefing, I'm going to be, I will take about 15 minutes of the lecture to brief what has been discussed in the video, okay, and verify that you have indeed watched the videos. And I do this by asking you some questions from the video, okay? If you have watched the videos, these questions are supposed to be easy for you to answer. So, of course, I will try to ask for volunteers. If you answer the question correctly and perfectly, you will get some bonus. And this bonus is part of this 5%. Okay? So each question that you answer perfectly and correctly, of course, you get 0.5% of these 5%. Okay? Which means that if you answer 10 questions throughout the course, you get the 5%. And this 5% is very significant, and it moved many people from, from one grade to another completely. So some people, they were B, they have become B plus, or B plus, they have become A because of the class participation. So the class participation for me is a way to try to ensure and verify that you have watched the videos. And of course, it makes sure also that you are attentive in class. So during the class, I may in fact ask someone in particular to unmute and answer the question, or take a try on answering the question. You don't have to, of course, answer it perfectly, but I will ask the person to try. And this is a way for me to make sure that you are attentive in class, that you are not really joined to the class and then you watch TV, or you do something offline, or you talk to your family or something like this. So we should try to make this interactive and bi-directional as much as possible. And the flipped classroom is good in doing this because it's not a traditional way of presenting slides and me going through the slides without having any kind of interaction from the other side. That's not going to work. So we need to make it as interactive as possible. And I prefer people to unmute and talk rather than just putting some text, because if you put a text on the chat, I may not actually follow that while I'm explaining some concepts. So anyway, so this is part one, and part one is going to take about 30% of the lecture. And then part two, it's going to be activities, course activities. Okay? And during the activities, we're going to work either in groups or individually towards solving some activities. So I have some activities. Again, if you go to Blackboard, okay, so this is basically how the flipped classroom is going to work. Okay, so first you will watch the offline videos, and then the lecture is going to be divided into two parts. Type to go through the assessment. So the lab work is going to have 30%, and in the lab you're going to be covering all the assessment related to the lab. Basically, we try to reduce the assessments as much as we can. So in the lab, there will be some lab assignments, some specific labs that you will go through, and final exam and project. That's it. So it's divided equally: 10% assignments, 10% final, and 10% project. So we will have only one assignment. We used to have two, but we removed one because many students have complained that this assignment is really dry, and they didn't like it. So we removed this assignment, and we have only one assignment, which covers subnetting, which is one of the very critical components of the course, which we will talk about it starting from chapter 8. Okay, so this assignment is going to be later on. Midterm 1 is going to be in week 7. Okay, we will post the exact date on midterm 1. The quizzes, we will have 4 to 5 quizzes. We will not go through 6 quizzes. And if we go through 5 quizzes, 1 quiz is going to be removed. So we'll take the best 4 out of 5. So I get this question also very frequently. If we are going to drop one of these quizzes, then yes, we will take the best 4 out of 5. Okay. And the final exam will be 25%. And again, the class participation is going to be bonus on top of the 100%. And in previous offerings of the course, I find students, they compete to try to take this class participation grade, because it really affects the grade of the students at the end. It moves some students from one grade to another just by being interactive in class. So any questions so far? So this is the way that تفضل. Of course. Yeah, immediately. So if you have answered the question correctly, I'm going to be saying, yes, this is correct. And I will put your name down, and then later on Blackboard, you will see it right away. Maybe it will take maybe 1 hour or 2 hours after the lecture, but no. I'm going to be doing that immediately in real time, almost real time. And يعني if your answer is not correct or is not perfect, يعني just it's only fair, so you will not get the grade. So this should be clear طبعا. Yeah. Any other questions? So that's that's how the course is going to be structured, and what the flipped classroom is all about. And again, the idea here is that if the course is structured in this way, hopefully, if you watch the video before the lecture, maybe you will get to maybe 30% comprehension of the material. Okay, I'm not expecting you by any means, by watching the videos, to get to مثلا 90% understanding. I'm not expecting that, and don't panic if going through the videos you don't capture everything. That's fine. If you get to 30% or 40% understanding of the material, that's good, because this is good base for me to build on top of. So by the briefing, the idea is that by the briefing, maybe the 30% will become, because we will go through the same videos again. So the 30% will become maybe 60%. You will find that some of the concepts that you have watched in the offline video, they were, a little bit hazy and not clear. By the briefing, hopefully some of these will become clearer and clearer, and then you will get to 60% level of understanding. That's very good. By doing hands-on activities, because in traditional methods, the only place where you find activities or actual questions is during the exam. In this method, you will actually go through these activities in class, and you will find that the exams are directly related or matching these activities. So if you go through these activities hands-on and understand your answer, you will be able to solve the exams very easily. So by going through these activities, you can reach to a level of understanding maybe 90%. For me, this is excellent. This is excellent. This means A. Okay, so the A is gonna be achievable in that case, and that's the idea, is that you go through the material in 3 different ways. First, as a video. Second, during the briefing. And third, by hands-on activities. So if you do it this way, you will get hopefully to a very, very good level of understanding, and that's the hope. Okay. Any questions? So starting from the next lecture, I will post the PowerPoint slides. So obviously this week is gonna be done using the traditional way, because you need time to watch the offline videos before the lecture on Sunday. So be aware that on Blackboard, before the lecture on Tuesday, you should find the chapter 1 material, okay, as normal PowerPoint slides. On Tuesday and Thursday, we're gonna cover chapter 1 in the traditional way. I'm gonna be going through the slides, and hopefully we will try to make it as interactive as possible. Starting Sunday, we will flip the class, which means that these offline videos, you need to watch them before the lecture on Sunday. Okay, and then we will go through the briefing and the class activities as I discussed. Any questions? Anything that's not clear on how the course is gonna go? For me, the syllabus is actually the contract between the students and the instructor. Okay, so after this lecture, we seal the contract, and then we launch the course in the way that we discussed in this syllabus. So it's important for you to understand how the course is gonna go, and if you have any questions or comments about this, let me know right away, and then we will discuss it. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Mumtaz. So inshallah we'll see you on Tuesday, and we will and don't forget to download the chapter 1 material from Blackboard, inshallah, before the lecture on Tuesday. Okay. And again, have a successful academic year, inshallah, and I hope I can see you all face to face very soon, inshallah. The midterm, the midterm is going to be on week 7. We will synchronize between all the course instructors, whether it's going to be on Sunday, Tuesday, or Thursday. But it's going to be on week 7. It's fixed on week 7. I will discuss with the instructors whether we make it Sunday, Tuesday, or Thursday, and we'll try to post it earlier because some students they need to know that beforehand. Yes, I forgot to say something. Someone is asking me about the certification. Uh, at the end of the course, at the very end of the course, usually during the last day of the final exams, we ask the students, whoever is interested, to come and take the CCNA1 exam, okay? Because all the material in that exam we cover already in class. So we will give you the chance to go through the CCNA1 exam, okay, of Cisco. And of course, during the lab, you will see that you have to create user ID and password on Cisco system, right? So we will ask you to do that free of charge. And if you pass the exam, which actually from previous offerings of the course, almost 100% or 95% of the students they pass, then you take the certification of CCNA1 of Cisco, which is very nice, and you get that free of charge. So that's a very nice advantage of integrating the course with CCNA1. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So inshallah, see you all on Tuesday. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum. So I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so I think that's